baby. Manorheads. How you guys doing?
Yeah. A whole lot of gang shit.
My brothers, how's everybody holding on, man? Yo, crazy fucking week. Crazy fucking news, yo. It's been over 60 years since the people in Cuba have protested out in the streets, loco. That alone sounds a little crazy to me because I always thought that they would have been protesting all the damn time. The way shit's been over there.
But if you think about it, we wouldn't have heard it, and the government would have shut that shit down before it even hits news. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I jumped right in, right? So we're talking. What we're going to discuss is the Cuba crisis that's been going on, right? So for those who are not that tied into it, I don't know. I can't go all the way back to Cuba in the 60s and Castro and that shit, right? I'm expecting people to know at least what Cuba is about, right? Something. You got to know something, right?
You want to give them the condensed version of that as much as you can?
Cuba, I don't know. Maybe people know Venezuela. If I say Venezuela or China or some communist country, right? They were a communist country, no freedom. Because that's how I see it, at least, right? There's really no freedom that you could, right? You could fucking be a doctor, a lawyer, or un campesino, and all equal kind of shit, right? Like the government controls everything that you fucking make, do. They got you on the leash, loco. You know, whatever the government says, the government does. So they kind of, hence, it's the freedom, right? The way I see it, right? Do you guys agree on that? Or you got a different way?
Yeah, suppression of people's rights.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. If any one of us would try to go on vacation to Cuba, we would be followed by spy car. Like people would be spying on us 24/7.
And for a long time, we weren't allowed into Cuba, right? And Obama administration kind of fixed that a little, or was getting us to the right path, at least to get us there, no?
To get us back there to travel, yeah.
So Obama administration had, because I know people from here, right, friends of ours that went to Cuba around that time, right? You still needed your paperwork done, right? It wasn't like a simple, let me get on the plane and go. You still kind of need the paperwork done, and family members I know from Peru got to go out there. Beautiful, beautiful fucking country, right? Everybody's like, this is amazing over here. It's beautiful. It's like, it reminds them like Old San Juan, who's ever been to Old San Juan, right? Really old town, the cars, the music, the environment. It was fucking beautiful. Pero pobre, right? Todo el mundo es pobre, which is sad as hell, good.
Yeah.
It's like you have such a big ass paradise. You live in a paradise right here, but everybody's around you is poor as crap, poor as shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the gap between those who got government jobs versus the people, you know, like the mom and pop shops, it's huge. You know, people who got government jobs got bread, and those that don't, they're you know, striving.
It's not even those that have government jobs. It's just those select few that are high up in government that have the bread. It's not like you're just let's say like a federal worker for the Cuban government and you're well off compared to everyone else. Not because you're still in that communism. You get in like it's all shared basically throughout the country, or not even shared. It's just the government decides your cut.
Right.
Like you're deciding your cut.
Right, and it's also they decide. I mean, the way that my father-in-law explained it, because he escaped Cuba to get the fuck out of there as soon as possible. He was incarcerated because he was looked at as I guess a maldoer or something. You know, like someone who's going to cause problems. And he told me that they would pick your jobs. Like, oh, okay, you know, you go and, you know, do the sugarcane. You go into the fucking fields and, you know, cut down sugar canes, and, you know, now you sow and shit. It's like, you know, mandated job because, like you said, it's communism based. It's like for the benefit of the welfare of the people, I guess, right?
I guess it's for the greater good, almost.
Right.
Yeah. So recently, then now, right? People had enough, right? People had enough, and they said, "I'm out. Let's protest," right? And they started rallying. They started marching, and their government. I think the first thing they did was shut off communication. Right? They internet went out. You can't use your phones. No news media kind of shit. Hasta cortaron la luz, right? Some towns they cut apagones left and right. Right?
Yeah.
There's no electricity, right? And that's fucking crazy, kid.
I heard that
the fact that you can't communicate with the outside world.
I heard that in the big cities where the protests were happening and stuff, the smaller towns and shit, they were doing during the day patrolling through the streets, the police and everything, telling people to get back in their house, that they couldn't go. They were saying it was a COVID lockdown. That's what they were telling the people. That is a COVID lockdown. Everybody's got to go back inside. They was getting no information. Like everything you see on the TV or any newspaper, it's all controlled by the state. Like there's no freedom of press. There's no freedom of information. It's all controlled by the state. So whatever they tell you, that's what the people know. Like even last year when the Cuban baseball team came to the United States to play like a friendly versus I think it was Colombia or something else on a neutral ground that they played. There was some protesters from Miami that went and protested the game, and in Cuba, they just stopped showing the game on television, and they told everybody that the game was just canceled, that the game was not going to come on. Like the protesting only went on for like 20 minutes, and then the game happened. Like after they kicked everybody out, after they wrangled everybody up, the game went on. But in Cuba, they thought the game was canceled and they never got to play. They never got to see it.
Wow.
So they control information like that. So there's parts of the country that don't know that the protest is going on, but they're being told to stay in the house. You can't leave. They're because of COVID. They're saying because of COVID.
And
Go ahead, Anubis.
I was just about to say and that's not really any different than any other communist country, right? It's basically the government-owned news media is going to make up whatever the fuck they want to say or what they want the people to know, right?
Mm-hmm. It's the same.
Horrible.
Same thing in Russia, China, fucking North Korea, shit like that.
Yo, the what's that representative's name? La Latina, Cortez.
Yeah, AOC.
AOC, Ocasio-Cortez, right?
Yeah, Alexandra Ocasio.
She said something which I don't quite understand. This was due to the embargo treatment or treated the embargo of Cuba, right? Mm-hmm. What exactly? Do you know what exactly that means?
Yeah, the embargo is that we restrict shit that goes into Cuba because of their communism. Like we restrict a lot of shit that goes into Cuba, like shit that they can get, like shit that like they say like shit that they can't grow, shit that they need. Like let's say that they can't get car parts or shit like that, or medical parts, or fucking or vaccines or COVID vaccines, anything like that. We hold an embargo over them that other countries can't bring that shit, and we can't bring that shit to them because we have allies with basically the majority of the world. So we're like, hey, yo, you can't help them niggas out. Your enemy, like my enemy, is your enemy now. Know what I mean,
right?
And so that's part of what led to their resources depleting so much, and the people getting so little that now they've had enough, and they're fed up, and that led to the revolt, I guess.
I saw a post on Instagram, and it was a celebrity, a Latino celebrity. I can't remember which one it was, but they were sharing a post, and the post said something like, "Hey, my family's in Cuba. I just spoke to them. Don't believe what the American news is telling you. It's not that violent out here. They're only showing you certain things, and this and that. And it's supposedly trying to get Americans ready for America to go and kind of stop shit happening in Cuba. What are the chances of that?"
But
Like,
you also have to.
Could that be true? Is that
No, that could be true, but also it could be that they're not getting the right information as well. Like I said,
true?
because they're only like if they're not in the place where it's happening, they're not going to know.
Right. They're hearing from a person that's in a good place, so they're saying, "No, it's good over here."
Yeah, exactly. So
And
if
then
they're
they're not in the
being
trenches. They don't know anybody in the trenches giving them the information.
if they're being fed misinformation by the state, like they see on their news, oh no, it's not that bad. It's just a couple of people were acting up and they got arrested.
Yeah.
And that's it. And now it's over.
So that's just their conspiracy. Some people got arrested, and now America's gonna come and solve it, and that's their in and shit. So there's like their conspiracy believing that's what's gonna happen next.
That could be what the Cuban government is telling them too. That could be like, oh, the America is trying to blow it up to bigger something than it is, so they can come in and take our stuff.
That's true. Damn, it's one of those fucking double-sided. Like these people really only can get certain information, so you really don't know what this country is feeling. You know, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's why those people who were able to get the information out in time, that's the only information we have that's raw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even like I saw Pitbull drop a message about it, right? Pitbull's Cuban, and he was saying, I can't even help my people. I'm over here and I can't even help them. I have resources that I want to provide to them. I can't even do it. You know what I mean? It's got to be such a helpless fucking feeling, right? To fucking, because a lot of us out here, right? Is we have family back home, right? And a lot of us probably were raised here and some little and all shit, but we got family back home. When shit happens back home, that shit kind of hits more reality, or I think that shit wakes a lot of people up. Be like, especially when you ask somebody, but like if I go to talk to somebody Cuban and I go ask them, and I'm like, yo, how's shit back home? How's the family back at home kind of shit? Some motherfuckers don't even know, kid. You know what I mean? To that I asked. They didn't even know that shit was going on. Porque ellos están aquí, no? They're raised here. Pero las abuelas or las tías, might still have a tía or something out there that's going through it, loco. And it's fucking so frustrating that you can't really do shit about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some of the things I've seen, the violence I've seen is heartbreaking. It's crazy. It's just straight violence for people that don't look like they want violence. You know what I mean? I'm seeing people on the sidewalk getting knocked over and beaten with batons, and it's just a frail dude taking these beatings and shit. I'm like, oh damn, it's not even a guy with a fucking stick, or he wasn't throwing rocks or nothing. He was just out there. He just wasn't fast enough in the crowd to run away.
Let me ask you this. Why now? Why after 62 years, they said, or something like that? I might be off a year or two, but 60 plus years. Why now? Why now you think people stood up and protested?
I think this is the only time we're hearing about it, to be honest, because we're living in the age of the internet, where they're able to get information out. Before we didn't have that, or they didn't have that, because you got to think of it like their country's basically still running in the 1960s.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how their country is running, from the 1960s. They didn't go through the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, where we at now. They didn't go through the digital era. They didn't go through the digital era. So like now that they have a few people that have these technologies to be able to get on the internet and share the information, we can see that. Who knows how many times this happened in the 70s, 80s, or 90s that we didn't know about.
Right. Because that was my surprise. I was surprised when I heard that 60 plus years, right? Because I'm like, no way, right? I'm like, I believe the country's been like this all along, right? Like people who said, no, it's not that bad, bullshit, right? I'm like, I think it's been horrible, like, because we all fucking know what the fuck Castro was about, right? Yeah. And the guy is fucking, he lived for so long and held it under his thumb for so long that shit just doesn't go away the moment he dies, right? You know what I mean? So, and that's true. They could have been protesting all the time. And you know what they probably did? They probably went out there, killed everybody, cleaned it up, and that shit, nobody never heard nothing about it. You know what I mean?
They still have firing squads. They have firing squads.
So I was Yeah, go ahead, Ed. My fault.
No, I was gonna say that like any country that's like that, like we said earlier, Russia, North Korea, China, like you say anything that's anti-government, they're quick to snatch you up and you never get heard from again.
Yep.
You and your family.
Now
Quick
those
to
people
snatch you up.
those people that grow up and live in those countries, they're just brainwashed into that reality. So they don't know that, damn, that's just fucked up. They're not angry about this.
They don't know how fucked up it is.
Mm.
Like they have, like to them, they're being told like you're living in this is utopia. Like if you go somewhere else, you don't know how bad it is out there.
Every
Be
country's
glad you're
shit.
here. Yeah, in North Korea, for one, people are starving to death. Like there's not enough food and shit. But they're being told like, yo, you think it's bad here? You know what homelessness is like in America and what they have to do out there? Like, you know, we're the evilest shit in the world to them. Like they think that their supreme leader has been taking care of them forever, and that they're on the top of the food chain.
It's crazy because I remember a documentary about North Korea, and some lady went to work there as a teacher or some shit. Like that was her way in to teach English and translate and shit like that. And while she was there, she met a couple of people that were like, "Oh my goodness, I'd love to watch a movie. I'd love to watch this." And she like snuck in a video of something that was really small, and the person that was watching it was just like amazed and in love with the movie, and like she was like a god to that person now because she had exposed them to something they couldn't get.
To technology, to the simplest technology.
Yeah. And it was like some fucking Mary Poppins or some shit. Like it was a fucking fun-loving family flick or some shit. Yeah, pretty crazy. They have no idea.
Yeah. So my next question, I think, first of all, there's been videos where people, a boat comes in Miami, somewhere out in Florida, right? You see a boat comes, a bunch of people jumping out, and the migra and cops behind them and shit, capturing people, right? And this was a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if anybody caught something like that, right? But there's a couple of I've seen like 2-3 different videos of that happening, right? It's a boat comes full of people and everybody's like jumping off, right? As soon as they get closer to shore.
Oh yeah. There's a few in Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Those were Dominicans though in Puerto Rico.
But what I was trying to get to is should we open the border? Should we open the border for Cuba? Should we let them in? Should we say, hey, come on?
Cuba has this special, well, I'm just gonna call it what it is. It's a privilege that no other country has. That, you know how we have illegal immigrants here that come across from Mexico, all parts of Latin America, Central America, shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
When they cross the border, the instant they touch U.S. ground, they're illegal. They get fucking snatched up. They get sent back. It's not like that with Cuba. Cubans have special privileges. The instant they get out of that water and touch American soil, they're granted full immunity and given fucking citizenship. The granted path to citizenship. No other country has that.
Because it's like, yo, you had to go through some shit to get the fuck out of there, right? You had to pass 3 levels of Jumanji to get fucking here.
Yeah, but
if you can make it here, you're good, bro.
You have to want to be here if you did all of that, so you're welcome.
Yeah, but the thing is, Haitians do that. Dominicans do that. How many Dominicans and Haitians have died in the sea? It's the world's biggest graveyard out there in that sea of people trying to make it to America, trying to make it to Florida. It's not only Cubans, but Cubans are the only one granted that special privilege, though.
But I said because
like,
Cubans,
America's like, yo, you know what? We're gonna hit you with this embargo, and now you're not gonna get the goods you need. And to top it off, anybody that escapes your ass will be granted immunity here, full citizenship.
But the embargo's been going on forever.
No, Ed, but is that because you're
and how long has immunity been going on?
forever too.
But is that because Cuba has been DR wasn't on there or the other islands, right? They weren't
They weren't communists. They didn't have a
communist countries. So did they imply that rule or apply that law because Cuba is a communist country? And they're like,
I think it started in the 60s when they saw Castro was friendly with the Russians during the Cold War. That's when I think it started. I'm not 100% sure, but logically that makes sense in my head that's when it would start.
So
like a fucking Cuban Missile Crisis and shit.
Just to add what Ed's talking about free immunity. All right, it's called the wet feet, dry feet policy, or wet foot, dry foot policy.
That sounds kind of racist, bro. That sounds kind of racist.
Yo, imagine that you saying that to like a Mexican, wet back, dry back, and shit. What does that mean? What does that mean? Sounds racist.
Sounds racist.
Hell yeah.
It's a 1995 revision of the application of the Cuban Adjustment Act of 1966.
See, from the 60s.
Saying that anyone who immigrates from Cuba and enters the United States would be allowed to pursue residency a year later.
Now with the I guess receival of technology and their little bit of advancement that they've had, do you think they're seeing places like Puerto Rico and they stand up to their government and other countries that are doing this and they gave them the cojones, or like you said, it's just
good question.
I don't know.
I think it's a small few that got that little bit of technology. It's not the masses that have this technology. Because if they can't get the technology for automobiles, for transportation, you think they don't even have dial-up, bro.
Yeah, so I looked into that, right? The whole internet thing, because that caught my attention. So in 1996 is when Cuba's first internet connection with Sprint, 64 kilobits per second, if you'll remember that back in the day. But anyways, United States didn't allow the I forget how many miles from Cuba to Florida to have a underground cable dropped to be able to provide internet access, broadband connection. But they have
90 miles, I believe, from Cuba to
Cuba got a line, undersea fiber optic line linked to Venezuela, who's providing their internet access, and that went up and running in 2013.
So faster than our shit anyway.
But again, going back to Venezuela, I'm wrong in saying Venezuela is a communist country?
No, Venezuela's out there too, bro.
Venezuela is a socialist country.
Socialist. So it's all about controlling the information, right? So what if you got internet? What are they letting you access it through? Right. Because we all know about DNS servers and fucking, what they allow, what internet IPs you
just because they have internet doesn't mean that internet is accessible to the public. It could be only for the government.
Yeah, China has internet TV, but the only sites you could get to or the only fucking TV that you watch is shit that tells you that the president is a god. You know what I mean? That's it. They have it. It's fast as hell.
Would you say the president is a god? What?
Yeah.
That's literally what they believe in North Korea. Yeah.
They have pictures of that dude, like telling him, and praising him.
As a god? Oh, okay. My
bad. He's a god. Yeah, like that motherfucker is Thor or some shit.
Shit. Martin, I like that question that you asked, because we was driving home and we was listening to the news and I was asking like Lex and the kids and share their opinion on this, right? And one of the things was do they have the balls now to protest because they seen what a black movement does? Now that they get the window of what a black movement does in the United States and say, oh shit, look what a protesting, and we could do the same. We could make, and that made a change. We could do the fucking same, and let's make a change, right? That's before we start talking about maybe they were protesting all along kind of shit, right? Because that we were listening to the fact that it was been 62 freaking years or 60-some years, and then we're like, damn, how come it took so long, right? And then the response was, maybe they saw what black movement did, right? Maybe they saw what could that do, and they got the balls to do it themselves, kind of shit.
Yeah, I can guarantee you they've never heard of BLM. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that they're going to be like, oh, because this is not information that they are given. Like, you have to understand, they're not getting
even with
this
the few
information.
people that have the technology or whatever. That's
They would have to be a high level hacker to be able to get through the government firewalls for them to get access to a free internet. And this,
government person himself and shit.
And you're talking, and if you're not talking about the masses here, and then that one person has to risk everything to get that information to other people without somebody snitching or the government finding out with all the spies they have.
Yep. Yeah, and once they find out, okay, you and the whole family gone, bro.
Anybody who's ever even sniffed that information is gone.
So it's just been a ticking time bomb, and it was now the time to protest.
But it's also, I'm also going to throw in the other thing, man. Like what just the whole world went through, right? So COVID, right? I'm not saying it's COVID only. I get it. But like, because of COVID, right? We saw everything take a hit, right? Price of gas, fucking price of like milk and bread, fucking food. People were over here in the United States, we're running out of toilet tissues. Well, in other countries, probably they were running out of fucking food, right? Like going real hungry. So I'm thinking it's like a culmination of that. Like, it hasn't been the prettiest of the past 2 years.
That's a good point.
So they're probably going real fucking hungry, more homeless, no opportunities, and something's going to erupt. And then you got the whole vaccine being delayed, not just here in the States, but how delayed is it in Cuba? Right? Like,
yeah, you're right. They were mentioning something to that point, right? It was like, hey, Obama was trying to get this shit going, back to it. Trump came, shut that shit down, and then you add COVID on top of that shit. You feel me? So you had, at one point, they were like, oh shit, we see the end of the tunnel, right? They're letting people come in. Americans are coming spending money. South Americans are coming spending money. Trump comes, shuts that shit down, right? We can't go there no more again. And now you got COVID. Now nobody fucking, like you said, right? Everything fucking goes to shit. Now
so they got a taste.
Yeah, right. Yeah, give you a little taste, then we shut everything down even worse than it was before, right? Because now nothing is coming in. Now Venezuela
that could have been what set them off. They got a little taste. They got a little taste, and then COVID shut everything down. And then on top of that, the resources that they used to get from other countries who were allowed to trade with them, now those resources they can't even get because those resources are scarce, even for those countries.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So even the little that you were getting help with, you don't even got that no more now. So now forget it. Now like you said, people are literally starving out there, right? We're fighting for fucking toilet paper over here. These motherfuckers are fighting for a piece of bread. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's imagine how we were with fucking toilet paper and all this shit and milk and shit. And this is us. So imagine how I was with them. And then
that toilet paper shove it right up your ass.
Yeah, and then normally that they have like fucking almost bare bones fucking shelves with for their shit. So imagine this shit was already bare bones on a good day, on a good year. You're only allowed to get certain much for the month, what you're allowed to get of each commodity for the month. You're allowed to get this much. You're allowed to get that much. So imagine how less they were getting during COVID, and then when shit stopped coming in, it's like, yo, we don't even have anything to give y'all. That's when the shit kicked off. Like when the government was like, oh, remember all the commodities that you're promised monthly? We don't have that. We don't have it anymore. And I don't know when you're gonna get it.
Yeah, do any of us got Cuban backgrounds, family, anybody? Tios, cousins, primos, vecinos?
Yeah, I just found out that in July, last July, that I'm half Cuban. So I do have family. My family that I know of is here in the States, but both my grandparents on my father's side, my biological father's side, were full Cuban. So I don't know their take too much on it. It's kind of recent, and I've been kind of busy recently, so I haven't had a chance to reach out and ask them particularly how they feel about it. But I'm sure the next time we talk, I'll pick.
There's got to be crazy stories. There's got to be crazy stories you hear from that shit. That's dope. I think I got a couple of friends like I said that are Cuban or Cuban descent, right? They're not even their moms or maybe their grandmothers maybe were born over there, and were able to get out, kind of stuff, or able to get the kids out, which is his mom, whatever. But us there, very little, very little amount of Cubans. I know Cuban links. You know what I mean?
Cuban links.
My wife's 40% Cuban, and I've heard stories from her dad. I have friends that are Cubans that's gone to visit Cuba. Her dad won't go back to Cuba.
No, I can't even imagine.
No, don't even fuck with that idea. I've even asked, like, let's go as a family. Let's just go, like, show us where you grew up and all that shit. He's like, nope. He's like, yo, I got out of there, bro. You're gonna tell me to go fucking back? He said those words. He's like, you're telling me to go back. No,
they won't let him.
You go. He's like, you go ahead.
Like, no, they won't let him leave. They're gonna be like, oh, you came back.
He did say that. Yeah, he did say that. And that's what they're gonna pull. And he was like, you want to go visit? You go to Cuba. I'm good.
Aquí tú mueres. Aquí tú mueres.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, but so let me throw a question out there. So I've been seeing hashtags be like, "Speak up," right? Why silent with what's all going on with the Cuban issue right now? And I don't know, what's your take on it? Like, I don't know. I guess we were talking to pre before we went into here, right? We're setting up and we're like, have you heard anything other than the news? Like, have you been hearing your friends talk about it? Like, or how is this blown out of proportion? Or is this something
I started following an Instagram page a while ago called Only in Dade. It's a Miami Instagram page and shit, right? And it originally started with just crazy shit. People driving their car with, instead of a tire, it's got a piece of wood. It's just crazy videos. And now it's become all about the protest. So they're sharing posts and they're sharing some of the activities, some of the protests, some of the speakers. They got the bullhorns and people out in the crowds all in Florida and stuff. So I know it's huge out there right now.
Yeah, Florida's a huge Cuban community out there. All Miami is full of Cubans, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And it's crazy that there are a lot of Cubans are protesting in the streets of Florida right now. They're shutting down highways and shit like that. And and the thing is, the governor of Florida not too long ago, a few months ago, passed a law that made it a felony to do those things, to protest and such, and shut down highways and shit like that, because that's what BLM was doing. And then he passed a law that it made it, if you're on the highway and fucking protesters are shutting down the highway, he made it legal for you to fucking run them over. You could run them the fuck over.
I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, fucking insane.
He literally said that you could run a protester over?
Yeah, you could run them over. That is the law. But now they're not enforcing it for the Cubans. The Cubans, because
it's a political thing?
Because Cubans vote Republican.
Right.
And he's a Republican governor.
So it's a felony for the blacks.
But not the Cubans.
That's crazy.
And I know, because in that loophole was like, if you do run somebody over, that loophole, that people would be like, yo, he was coming after me. They were protesting. They were about to attack me. So I just ran over.
Yeah, they were protesting.
You know what I mean? It's like, come on, bro. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here.
You can look it up. It's a real fucking law, bro. Look it up.
Yo, so do you think America should do something? What do you think Biden should do on this? What can we do?
That is a good question. What can we do?
Yeah. It's tough to watch people fucking starving and struggling like that. It's tough to watch it from the outside without wanting to step in. You know what I mean? It just depends on whatever fucking agenda there is behind it. You know?
Like, I don't know enough about what is really happening in Cuba, like from direct Cuban information to even come up with a plan to be like, all right, maybe this will work, maybe that'll work for them.
Okay.
But just think of every time America has tried to put their foot on somebody else's land to bring freedom or remove a dictator, how well has that gone for that country afterwards? Not too well.
Correct. Once we leave, you mean, right? Once we set everything up, and we leave.
Or we try to set everything up as they said. Oh yeah, we gave you freedom. Like, it looks like you just came and blew a bunch of shit up, my nigga. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, right. And Cuba, I mean, it's not the biggest country in the world, so I got to imagine they're not going to need the amount of people they needed in the Middle East as far as soldiers and shit like that.
Bro, we already have a base in Cuba, Guantanamo Bay. We already got a base.
They're already there and shit. Right?
Yeah, they're already there. They'll be like, say less. We're here. Wave the flag. We won.
Go outside. Okay.
Yeah. Look left.
So that brings another question in my mind, rather. So recently, China, Russia, and Iran said, "Yo, watch out, America! What you do in Cuba, stay the fuck out. Not your affair." And then and then I'm thinking, same warning came from China and Russia about Taiwan. That's about an invasion from China to Taiwan, and then Japan and US backing them up. So in my mind, I'm just hashing this out. I'm thinking, so what's going on over there in the Pacific that Russia and China don't want? I guess a unilateral backed event where they won't allow China to invade Taiwan. They're like, whoa, over here in Cuba, you can. It's almost like a chessboard. Like they're playing the two sides of the ocean as far as where they're at with backing up their communistic state.
Yeah,
And,
strategic planning.
So it's almost like whatever the fuck we do here, guess what? If you back in Cuba with a democratic, overthrow whatever's going on over there, we're gonna fucking invade Taiwan or vice versa, some shit like that.
Yeah, because if you think about it like that, that is true. Cuba does have allies in China and Russia. So that's the closest that China and Russia can get to the United States without the United States having any say. And Taiwan is the Pacific version of Cuba for the United States. That's the closest we can get to China and Russia without them having any say.
True.
It's all about military strategies, bro. But it's not even about helping the people, which is the same shit. Like I said, anytime we go into a country trying to liberate or fucking give them freedom, they're like, we never really go to help. It's always a hidden agenda.
Yeah.
We've been depending on what the agenda is and shit.
Yeah. I don't know how much oil they got in Cuba, but I bet you will find some.
I was about to say, we've been trying to help Venezuela for a long time, kid. I don't know why.
I don't know why.
Like, we're gonna come back with a fucking rum mine or some shit, nigga.
Yeah. Oh shit, kid. Yo, let's pour a shot and let's say a final words on Cuba, kid. Let's take any final words on Cuba. Cubans.
Cuba del corazón, we are with you. Libertad, libertad, libertad.
Libertad, loco.
I was gonna say libertad. Libertad. Yeah, we're behind you. I'm behind you.
Yeah, man.
This goes, man.
Libertad y oye, chico, men. Hacer it.
Hey, man, all the Cubans out there, stay strong, stay positive. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, guys.
Cuba
right?
libre. Cuba libre.
Cuba libre, all right? Con fuerza.
Cuba libre.
Cuba libre.